What's up everybody and welcome back to another matchup from the Raidcall EMS 1 LAN Cup Spring Final Edition. This is a quarterfinals match between Navi and fnatic. This is game number 1 of a best of 3 series. Keep in mind this is single elimination. And this is a matchup I have been waiting for a long time. This is, I think, probably two of the West's best hopes in terms of taking on the Chinese in the form of fnatic and Navi. fnatic have been struggling a bit recently in the online competitions, but they still managed to get second place in the Starlighter LAN tournament. Keep in mind, in the grand finals they were down one game because Alliance did have that one game advantage from making it to the winners bracket. But yeah, they did a role switch. No-Tail's playing mid, Hani's playing support, and fnatic have been looking solid for the most part. Meanwhile, Navi have been struggling a bit as well in the online competitions, as they have been preparing very hard for the boot camp. Prior to this tournament, I think they won some small cup, whether it be... They won the Join Dota Masters, right? They won the Join Dota Masters Edition, beating Kaipi 2-0 in the grand finals of that. So they've been boot camping. They took a long break before starting this boot camp because I imagine the next couple months are going to be pretty action-packed for them. They're going to go to China. They have to play G1 qualifiers. They're going to go to China in DreamHack Summer, and then, of course, TI3. So Navi probably getting their breaks in now and then prepping very hard. Right now they are in a boot camp environment, so they are going to be prepared, and they're at the Raidcall EMS, so keep in mind, Navi and fnatic, these are two of the most experienced LAN teams in the Western scene, as fnatic have been around for quite a while in the Han era, and also doing quite well in DreamHack, winning the Thor Open, getting second place at Starlighter. They definitely have a lot of experience under their belt. But right now, fnatic banging out the Barrier as well as Magnus. Pretty solid choices in my opinion. Navi does obviously have the first pick, and Magnus and Barrier are two of the most powerful heroes in the game. Navi probably going to pick up the Nyx right now because Nyx has, for some reason, still made it left in the pool. But you never really want to give fnatic a chance to get Wisp. Maybe Navi did not have a strategy executed Wisp. Maybe they thought fnatic would perhaps give them Magnus rather than Nyx. But Nyx is definitely a very solid choice. And I haven't seen Dendi play Nyx, so I have to imagine this is going to be a support Nyx being handled by Kuroki or Puppey. Just because I think Dendi likes to play some more mobile heroes, whether it be Mag with the Skewer and the Blink. NA can farm a Blink, but it does take a little bit longer because you can't really get the farm going. Dendi, of course, like that Quap with the mobility. So I think that's just my opinion on why Dendi probably won't play the Nyx in this mid lane for at least this game. Meanwhile, fnatic picking up the Lifesteal as well as Bane. It's pretty interesting in this turn. I've seen a lot of Bane as an opening choice, and Bane is definitely a very powerful hero. I don't know if he's first pick worthy, but maybe fnatic has scrimmed against Navi trying to deny Bane to Navi, and Lifesteal Bane is definitely it's an interesting setup, as Lifesteal is one of the most powerful carry heroes of this version. He just doesn't really need that many items, and he remains relevant for so long. He's very powerful against Nyx because Spike Carapace does nothing against the Lifestealer. And also this Bane pick is just to deny Navi from getting the Bane, because Bane is one of the counters to Lifestealer. If you can enfeeble the Lifestealer before he pops the Rage, that will shut down the Lifestealer's DPS output significantly. You can Fiend script the Lifestealer through the Rage. So fnatic may be forced into this Bane pick, and we'll have to see how they utilize it, because I've actually not seen fnatic run Bane too often in these sort of matches. Meanwhile, Navi thinking long and hard. Will they pick up their mid? I think they're probably going to solidify their child and try to choose the mid, because otherwise fnatic will probably keep banging on mid solo heroes. And this patch has a lot of variance in terms of carries. And one hero that it is interesting that wasn't picked or banned so far is the Lone Druid. And ever since Live Heaven has left, I think Havos has been handling the Lone Druid for the most part. I think they like having fnatic play sort of the more dynamic heroes that can do a little bit more in the mid game in terms of getting into the fights and getting into the action, whether it be Darkseer, Clinks, or anything like that. And they have Havos sort of sit AFK farm and then join the fights. But yeah, I'm a bit curious to see when Lone Druid will pick up, as fnatic or Lifestealer Lone Druid is such a strong combination. But usually if you do have that combination, you want to get a Mag on your side, because then if it comes down to the late game, you can empower the Spirit Power of the Lifestealer and they can just farm so much more quickly. But if fnatic manage to get their hands on the Lifestealer as well as the Lone Druid, they have a really strong mid game. So Navi going to deny that. They're going to pick up the Lone Druid as well as the Juggernaut, and Juggernaut is really interesting in the first phase being picked up right about now. Usually when Juggernaut's picked, it's sort of to deny Keeper of the Light from having too much of an impact, because Healing Word will heal up your creeps. Of course, it can sort of Blade Fury and spin through a lot of the magical damage that Keeper of the Light can pump out, but now we ban out Keeper of the Light. So I think they had this Juggernaut strategy in mind. One thing that it is going to be incredibly annoying to deal with for a side Fnatic is that the Healing Ward will heal the bear by so much. And keep in mind, Healing Ward is percentage-based HP. And since the bear at max level has 27 HP, if it manages to heal, oh man, what is it, percentage? 5% HP regen per second, that'll just give the Lone Druid bear so much sustainability. It would be absolutely ridiculous, as it'll probably give him like around 200 HP per second, or actually a bit less, as I have my numbers off a little bit. 100, at the very least 100 at the max level. And one of the things that Lystra can do to the bear is just sort of eat through him, because the bear has so much HP that Feast will give you so much extra life when you're focusing on the bear. But now, how can you really focus on the bear when there's a healing ward? So I've never seen Lone Druid and Juggernaut sort of been run together except by LGDian, but it definitely has a lot of synergy, as you can really never kill the bear. But Fnatic do have some mechanisms in place. Again, they have the Bane and Feeble to really make that bear's life very difficult. And they have the Fiend script to sort of shut down the Juggernaut even when he is in Blade Fury. So it's going to be up to Nyx to really take care of that Bane. And I like this choice by Fnatic. They're going to pick up the Brewmaster. And I imagine Fnatic are going to go for a bit more of a late game. I don't think Lystra will be their sole carry. I think Fnatic might be forced to go aggressive, because against Juggernaut as well as Lone Druid, Lifestar can't carry the game by himself. Brewmaster, very good against the bear, and really good in terms of disrupting teamfight. This Brewmaster is going to be very solid in fighting the Nyx in the teamfight, because he can send one of the heroes up into the air and then stun, and the Brewmaster splits won't really be too troubled by a spiked Carapace. But since I think Fnatic are going to go aggressive, they might want to get one more carry, because right now their trial lane has Bane, which is a good setup, Lifesteal, which does a lot of damage. They're going to need one more extra DPSing support, unless Lifesteal is going to be their sole carry, which they could have, but if Lifesteal ever gets focused, where's Fnatic's DPS going to come from? So that's my reasoning why Lifesteal is not going to be his sole carry in this game.
10 seconds.
And against Navi's lineup, you're going to need DPS. And one of the good things about Brewmaster against Juggernaut is that you can send one of the spirits and kill off the ward very easily without too much risk. So that is another bonus of having that Brewmaster ultimate. It gives you a lot of teamfight control. You can send that Spirit Bear up into the air, and it can really make Navi's life a lot more difficult. Also, Brewmaster is probably the best solo mid-melee hero in the game. Can't really farm his house as something like a Magnus, but due to the Drunken Haze causing the mischance, you can really outlast it, and Brewmaster has such tank ability, and once Brewmaster hits level 6, you really can't ever gank him. So Brewmaster is probably the best melee solo mid in the game, but obviously can sort of take advantage of that, and that's why I sort of fight around his ultimate once the game goes late enough, or once the ultimate is on cooldown, because keep in mind Brewmaster's ultimate does have a ridiculous cooldown in the early levels, and that's why you don't see Brewmaster every game. Meanwhile, Navi, banning out the Finalizing, I like this choice a lot. Maybe they could have done an aggressive trial with Lifesteal Bane or Finalizing Bane, or again, I think Navi's realizing that Fnatic needs some other source of DPS in order to kill off the bear, as well as the healing ward, and banning out Fnatic heroes as well in the form of Nature's Prophet, as well as that Dark Seer. Meanwhile, Fnatic banning out supports, recognizing that, okay, Navi have a Nyx probably playing support, but they could put it mid if Dendi wants to play him. We'll just keep banning out supports that Pup you might want to use to roam aggressively early on. But Navi going to pick up the Lina, and Lina's a pretty solid burst support. Fnatic can't ban every support in the game. It's just not possible. And I think Navi's last pick will be a mid-solo hero, unless they run Lone Druid mid, or Juggernaut mid, which we have seen S4 from Alliance run from time to time. Anyways, just on a different note entirely, I have some other content besides just commentaries. Hopefully I'll be able to get that out to you very, very soon, some coaching. So hopefully you guys can find that educational. But yeah, it should be overall a good time. Keep help spreading the word, keep help supporting me, and I will keep doing what I'm doing. But yeah, I really appreciate what you guys have been doing. DC is pretty much dead. It's gonna, we're just all waiting for the announcement. So yeah, hopefully I can find another place, another organization to sort of move to, or might just go solo. I'm not too sure, but I really appreciate the supports. I have been noticing that my views have been dipping down ever since DC has went down for maintenance, and now that DC is going to be pretty much officially shut down, please just make sure you tell everybody that you know that I'm still doing daily casts, and also keep supporting me beyond the summit,
10 seconds
LD, SGG whenever it pumps out commentaries. It's all greatly appreciated.
Dire team pick.
And this is what I was talking about with the Aggressive Child, Bane, Lifestealer, and it's backed up by Undying, and Undying is interesting in this composition. He's pretty difficult to bring down, but they are up against a bear who can send his bear, kill off the tombstone rather quickly. Undying's not going to get too many levels in an Aggressive Child, but he can be used to shut down it, and the question is, how will Navi react to this? And it's going to be annoying for actually Fnatic to initiate, because there's going to be a Juggernaut.
10 seconds remaining.
And Juggernaut is one of the best heroes in terms of playing defensively or aggressively, because he has magical immunity and a longer duration than Lifestealer in the early levels, and he still does damage.
Reserve time.
And backed up by 2 AoE stuns in the form of Nyx as well as Lena, Fnatic might have an issue if they run the aggressive Trine. I think Fnatic sort of were backed into a corner with the Lifestealer as well as the Bane opening choices against the Lone Druid, because again, the DPS pretty much only comes from Lifestealer, because Undying, he's a decent lane control hero, he can provide a lot in the team fight, but if he doesn't get levels, he can be, for the most part, ignored once the game goes past the 25-minute mark. So again, Fnatic picking up the Tinker to seal off their lanes, as I was just a little baffled for a moment. This actually might be a Charlie and Brewmaster and put Tinker mid-solo. Yeah, No Tail is going to be playing the Tinker, so I think this might actually be no, it's going to be a safe lane Brewmaster, aggressive Charlie, and Nyx. So they want to have Brewmaster still get the levels. They want to put Tinker in the mid lane position so he can still do a lot of things against Dendy's Quap, because even though Brewmaster is one of the best melee mid-solos in the game, he still loses to Quap, and Quap is just one of the best mid-solos in the game, period. But No Tail with the laser mischance can still be quite relevant. And with an aggressive tri-lane, what you can do, even if you can't get the kills, you can have your support stack the Ancients constantly, if you are on the dire side. But right now, overall, I'm liking Navi's team composition just a bit more. I love the Juggernaut and Lone Druid synergy. They have a lot of AoE stuns. They have a mobile here for Dendy who can put out a lot of burst damage. Fnatic, they're really relying on the team fight, and if Lifestealer sort of gets shut down, I'm not too sure where the damage is actually going to come from until the late stages of the game, where Tinker can really sort of start becoming a huge problem. Of course, March will remain relevant for such a long duration, but it's already a sort of bad matchup because you are facing a healing ward, and even though March does immense amounts of damage, you can still sort of man up and go for it if you truly want to go for a push with that healing ward. But Fnatic definitely have a pretty strong lineup. Another thing about Fnatic's lineup is without the Brewmaster ultimate, they only have one hero can disable, and that's the Bane. They have no other heroes that can provide a disable, whether it be a stun. They have a slow in the form of Lifestealer, and of course the Undying ultimate slash Tombstone give you some AoE slow, but there's really nothing to stop the Juggernaut other than the Fiend script. There's nothing to stop the Lone Druid other than some Drunken Haze and some mischances, so I'm not too sure about Fnatic's teamfight control and when their Brewmaster ultimates on cooldown, but that's one of the good things about Tinker, is that when your big ultimates are on cooldown, you can sort of fight around that by split pushing every lane and force somebody to defend. So even if the other team doesn't want to fight a team fight, they're probably going to be fighting behind, or if they sort of push in, you can have Tinker go to a different lane and potentially get something back even if you do lose the team fight. But time to introduce the players in the teams. We're going to have Puppy playing the Lena, Havost is playing the Juggernaut, Dendy is playing the Queen of Pain, Kuroki is playing the Nyx, and Funnick is going to be playing the Lone Druid, so a little bit different than what I expected. I thought Havost would be playing the Lone Druid, but they're going to send Funnick. Funnick is the off-lane player for Navi. I have not seen him play Lone Druid, but I'm sure he's very, very capable. I'm sure they trained him quite a bit, and he's obviously a phenomenal player. Otherwise, Navi probably wouldn't have picked him up. On the side of Fnatic, we're going to have Fly playing the Bane, No Tail is playing the Tinker, Era is playing Lifestealer, Trixie is playing the Brewmaster, and Hani is playing the Undying. So Trixie, off-lane hero, is actually playing the safe lane. You've got a Stout Shield early on, perhaps anticipating Navi to dodge to the tri-lane, or maybe recognizing the fact that, okay, Lone Druid pretty much has 2 heroes in 1, so I want to have that extra bit of damage block, but he's definitely not going to upgrade this Stout Shield whatsoever. And Funnick just doing standard things, perhaps maybe in preparation of a defensive tri-lane. I think Navi probably guessed that Fnatic were going to run an aggressive tri-lane, but you still want to be safe rather than sorry, because Lone Druid does not have an escape mechanism. But right now, Fnatic should have decent control of the tri-lane. Navi does have that dual stun and the immense amount of damage of Blade Fury, but the thing about Undying is they can provide so much sustained control over a tri-lane that it really just does not match up to the burst capabilities until the Navi tri-lane gets a couple levels, which it will be hard to come by in these early stages of the game. But right now, CS mostly looking even. Hovost having a little bit of a difficult situation right here. But Navi's tri-lane, once they manage to get a stun set up, they can probably just go to work on Bane and really shut him down. One thing they can do with the Bane in this situation is just nightmare whoever's coming in and just sort of prevent that. But Navi's actually going to do a smoke gank, and Fnatic do not have vision of this. They actually don't know where the supports are. And Hani, I think he's wondering where exactly the supports are, as Puppey might have his smoke dispelled. Kuroki is going to get revealed. I don't know if Hani knew that Navi was going to smoke up. He spotted the smoke in his seat, but Puppey is still smoke. Kuroki trying to venture back in lane. Puppey is going to grab the regeneration rune. Fnatic definitely know about it right now because they still have that board on lockdown. So that smoke, a little bit of wasted gold. The supports were not getting experience, but they weren't getting experience otherwise. Juggernaut is a very level-dependent semi-carry. He wants to have the max level ward. That Blade Fairy also wants to be maxed, even though in some situations I see people still get only 1 point to Blade Fairy and max that healing ward by 7 and get some points in the stats. But yeah, only a couple months ago, Undying was pretty much a top pick hero as Era is going to get initiated on, but Vost, recognizing that he probably couldn't kill the Lifestealer because Lifestealer still has rage, just going to back off. And keep in mind, Lifestealer does have a higher base movement speed than the Juggernaut 315 and the Lifestealer had boots, so good recognition by Havost, not spending the mana, recognizing, okay, Lifestealer has boots, we can't honestly touch him, so we're just going to get the heck back, not use Juggernaut's precious mana pool. Meanwhile, Trixie going to work on Lone Druid, and Lone Druid getting harassed quite a bit, but with that Orb Venom providing the passive harassment, it will be a bit difficult for Trixie. But Trixie, keeping up with Lone Druids in terms of CS, now the Creep Wave has pushed to the tower. We'll see if he picks up something like a bottle or a Soul Ring to help fuel his mana. Probably a bottle, or just go for the fast arcane boots. Now, the unfortunate thing of having Juggernaut in your lane, even though he is pretty strong and aggressive or a defensive giant scenario, is that because he wants levels more than anybody else, because he doesn't really scale as well compared to other late game heroes in late game, because he wants to get items like phase boots, drums, and things like that, he doesn't go for armlet like the Lifestealer or Deso, or even Heart. Your supports are going to be very, very underleveled, and you can start seeing that on the side of Navi. You can see that the supports are actually a full level behind Hani in terms of experience growth, and even Bane, despite not having as much experience, does have an experience edge compared to supports. Vost going to take a bit of damage. Era just going to drive him back off the lane as the Fnatic squad recognized that the supports were not protecting the Juggernaut, and Tinker going to grab himself an invisibility rune. As Dendy should be winning the mid lane rather handily. Yeah, Quap does have a severe advantage. Keep in mind, Laser is not spammable, and there's really not too much No-Tail can do once the Shadow Strike harassment goes down, because Tinker is a very squishy hero, and really can't do too much. As you can see, Dendy, obviously, he knows that he has the advantage, but March of Machines, even the level 1 March of Machines does ridiculous amounts of DPS. It is absolutely insane how much damage that spell does when you have very low armor. So, good recognition by Dendy. He's winning the lane very, very hard, as well as he should, but Tinker, at the very least, he's not dying. A bit surprised that Fnatic are not ancient stacking with their Bane, because he's not sapping so much experience, but I guess they really want to have that control, and if they ever dive Era or Hani, they want to have the Bane in position to get the Nightmare to potentially save themselves from being first blooded. Meanwhile, boots up for the Juggernaut. Era has the boots as well as Orb Venom, so we're gonna have Orb Venom Lifestealer. I've been seeing this a bit more often in these games as of late. It's a pretty cheap, cost-effective item. It gives you some passive slow, and you don't always have to rely on open wounds. And Lifestealer, again, has higher than average base movement speed. Maybe this might indicate he's not going to go for phase boots, or he might not go for drums. He just wants to have a cheap gold investment item that he can use to chase. But I don't know, I might be looking into it a little bit too deeply. I'm not too sure. This is just sort of a new occurrence, seeing the Lifestealer with the Orb Venom. But yeah, he picked up the phase boots, and now he's starting to go to work. Now he has the move speed to constantly juke back and forth, and just throw down so much stress, and his base damage is through the roof. And right now, Fnatic, even though they're not getting kills, they're really limiting Navi. As you can see, Havos only 8 CS, and he really can't approach the lane without taking momentous amounts of damage. You can see Healing Ward is being used just to sustain himself. So even though you have an aggressive tri-lane, a lot of times you do want to get the kills. In this case, Fnatic how are they going to get kills? I mean, Undying doesn't have any lockdown, and you're facing against a magical immune hero in the form of Juggernaut. You're facing against Spike Carapace, so Fnatic are just doing the best they can, which is just to control the lanes, and they're doing that magnificently. And right now, Bane is actually on the top lane, perhaps wanting to set up a gank on the Lone Druid, but Funnick, realizing something's funny, morphing to the true form Bear, and Fly will be thwarted in that endeavor from ganking that Lone Druid. I thought we might have been able to stack and pull these creeps, but is again going to be SOL in that regard. And meanwhile, Navi, not knowing where the Bane is, they didn't have vision to see where he roamed to. Playing super defensively because they don't know if Bane's wrapping around to try to set up a Nightmare gank, because against a face with Lifesteal, even though you have some magical immunity, you'll probably get burst down because the Spike Carapace does not have the long restoration. Actually, Kuroki not loving up the Spike Carapace, instead going the Sarah build, 1 point to Mana Burn, because Mana Burn just does so much against heroes like Bane, Undying. Even Lifesteal won't really have the mana to sustain himself after he casts Open Wounds after a single Mana Burn. So it's going to be up to Dendi and Funnick to really make an impact in this lane, because in the late stages of the game, I do have to side with Fnatic, just because Juggernaut does not tend to build into hard carry items. He usually builds into items like Phase Boots, you know, Manta, which isn't the best DPS item, Drums, items that give him mobility and still have him provide a lot of mid-game impact. And Lone Druid is of course very strong, but Lifesteal does do pretty well, and of course you do have the Bane to cast Enfeeble on that bear. So it's going to be up to Denti to start providing some teamfight control or some ganking control. But who are you going to gank? The Tri-Lane is probably the most likely target, but you do have the Nightmare to sort of help you out, and you never really want to go aggressive against a Dirge. Dirge is one of the most defensive Tri-Lane heroes, just because it's funny, because Dirge is always run as an aggressive Tri-Lane hero. When I say Dirge, I mean Undying. He's always run an aggressive Tri-Lane hero, but you can't really engage on him because Decay just gives him so much extra HP, he can provide so much healing, and he's just overall a very, very big nuisance to deal with. So they're going to have to focus their efforts on Tinker, and we're actually going to see that Sonic Wave going to come in, and Lina, with a marvelously placed Dragon Slave, will successfully pick up the first blood. That ward definitely helping out to scout Lina the high ground. Dendi a little bit annoyed that he didn't get the first blood most likely, but he got the majority of the experience. He's getting uninterrupted free farm, and you can see 28 denies, no tail is just getting absolutely demolished. But that's what happens when you're Tinker against Quap. Tinker really can't do anything. Quap has better range, a better attack animation, better nukes, more spammable nukes, more rune control, better AoE. It's just not a good matchup in the laning stage. And Tinker only has the bottle and one part of his soul ring. He is going to get such a late boost of travel. Keep in mind, it's already 9 minutes game. Dendi getting initiated on the fly. Here comes Kuroki, going to roam in. Brainzap going to do a bit of damage to Dendi as Spike is on cooldown. But the Light Strike Array by Puppey placed very, very nice. He gets a triple stun. Dendi would have been safe anyways, but still, I mean, good stun by Puppey, slowing down the assault. And I'm really worried for No Tail because eventually the push will come by the Lone Druid. He's pretty much been untouched. Queen of Pain is having a really, really marvelous time. And again, Juggernaut, he wants levels, he wants items, but as long as he's a max healing ward, it's just going to be difficult to sort of engage against a Navi squad once they start grouping up for their mid-game death ball push. And Tinker wants to have Boots of Travel so he can split push, he can get to the tower early to get some March Machine layers down, and I'm not too sure when you'll be able to find the gold or the room to pick up that Boots of Travel once the Navi pressure starts getting going. I mean, it's already 10 minutes in the game. No Tail, he might just skip the soaring for now, just try to get the Boots of Travel. I'm not too sure, but No Tail is just being pressed down relentlessly. He does finish the Soul Ring, so he wants to use that to perhaps stack the March camps on the Ancients, but the Ancients not even being stacked. I think that's a bit of a mistake by Fnatic. The No Tail probably should be communicating, alright guys, I'm losing mid super hard, I need the Ancients to be stacked, and it's not like Navi are paying too much attention to the Ancients. So it might be Navi intimidating as here comes Fly. Gonna initiate onto Funnick. I don't know if they can actually kill Funnick. That's the problem. They're gonna use a split as Funnick gonna take a lot of damage, but he's so tanky. He's a freaking bear for Pete's sake. As Funnick gonna be saved by the Light Strike Ray. Lina is in place. The Entangle does go off, limiting Bane's movement. And now the Brewmaster ultimate turns on. Will stun off Puppey. Brewmaster's gonna get the heck out of there. And I'm really questioning that usage of the Brewmaster ultimate because now you're without it for the next 160 seconds, and this could fuel a Navi push as Light Strike Ray for Puppey unfortunately whiffs. Meanwhile, Queen of Pain does pick off Tinker in the meanwhile, and the Juggernaut was slain on the bottom lane by the Lifestealers. But overall, Fnatic definitely having a bit of trouble, and it's going to only get more difficult in the next couple minutes when they're without the Brewmaster ultimate, as Trixie going to get impaled to the ground, Lightstrike going to be chained, Fnatic going to pop the Battle Cry to give him himself and the Bear some extra HP, Hani going to roam in. Does he have mana for the Tombstone? No, he used it in engagement to pick off the Juggernaut, and meanwhile, Havost roaming in a little bit too far. Era took a lot of damage, but Havost going to be okay. He knows that he does have backup, and Fnatic thinking better of it, just gonna get the heck out of there. But yeah, Fnatic, the Brewmaster ultimate's down for a long duration, and without it, they really can't control Navi. How can they kill the ward? They have a lot of melee heroes. Tinker really needs to be farming, and Era, of course, wants to be farming as well, but he needs to be in place, otherwise you really won't be able to stop Navi pushing, and Navi is such a mid-game centric lineup that you really can't stop him from snowballing. But all the same, you still want to get Tinker his boot to travel ASAP, and you want to delay the tower pushes, otherwise Tinker will have no map control to pick up a safe boot to travel. So that is why we're going to see Tinker roam in on the middle lane, has a regen rune in his bottle. I just really feel bad for No-Tail. I don't think the Tinker last pick was really such a good idea. But Dendi gonna throw on some Rasen, gonna receive a bit of Rasen himself. They're just gonna defend their towers. They recognize that if we manage to delay the game late enough, we will eventually get to boot to travel online. So all we need to do is sort of hold off the push. Navi again has a really strong mid-game lineup. They have a lot of burst damage in the form of Lina, as well as having that Nyx controlling the supports. Dendi's burst damage at this point is pretty much at its peak until he gets to level 11. Havost, his Blade Fury, is still going to do the max amount of damage compared to the HP. So Fnatic, I think they're thinking if we can weather the storm right now, we should be in good position. But Fnatic just proving to be such a nuisance with this Bear, just going to be pressuring the bottom lane meanwhile, and Era forced to teleport, and Era definitely wants this farm, but without Era in a team fight, where is your damage going to come from? Fortunately for Fnatic, they managed to stall long enough that the Brewmaster ultimate will be back online, and Brewmaster is doing a nice job getting his levels, even though he's been under a tiny bit of pressure. But you can see the mid lane really coming back to haunt Fnatic. Dendi was able to get a lot of damage accomplished against that tower, and he was able to kill off No-Tail a couple of times. And you can see that tower, it is in deny range, so Navi going to be a little bit sad that they won't get this tower gold. They definitely could have used it for Fnatic as well as the Juggernaut. But this is also very important because now No-Tail doesn't really have a safe place to teleport into, and this is going to be one of the latest booster travels I've ever seen on a solo Tinker. And this isn't really No-Tail's fault. This is just, he was just placed in the worst possible situation for a Tinker, in my opinion. And meanwhile, Fnatic's movement, it's so scared. I don't know if they're respecting Navi a bit too much, but Fly doesn't have boots. He's still level 4, and he really can't roam around because Nyx and Lina just do a lot of burst damage, and they're spending all their gold on wards to really prevent the ganks from coming in, because they know Navi will try to gank with their really strong mid-game lineup. As, oh no, I think Bane's going to be a lot of trouble. They know he doesn't have boots. They're going to go on No-Tail. They will pick off No-Tail. Fly going to take a lot of damage. Tombstone has been dropped. Here comes Trixie with the ultimate. Tombstone not being focused. This could be disastrous for Navi. They're going to pick off Dendi. Havost going to try to get the heck out of there. Nice Cyclone Dispel onto Havost. They will pick off Havost. Really good infest. But overall, Navi lost 3. They picked off the Tinker and the Bane. They managed to get a tower. They managed to get 2 towers because Fnatic was not in the engagement. And also very important is that the Brewmaster ultimate is down. So even though Navi definitely lost that fight, all was not lost. They managed to kill off the Tinker, which is extremely significant because Tinker would have gotten a lot of assist gold and perhaps 1 or 2 kills if he was in that engagement. But now Tinker is going to have to spend so much time farming and getting himself back to the Boots of Child that it's just not going to be a good time. And without the Brewmaster ultimate, how can Fnatic really stop Navi from grouping up and pushing in once again? And the answer to that is, I'm not too sure. As I'm really wondering why Fnatic are not stacking Ancients. I've definitely seen Fnatic stack Ancients, as maybe they just don't feel safe at their Ancients, and that's why No-Tail has retreated into the jungle. Meanwhile, Dendi gonna take a lot of damage. Tombstone has already been forced. Era gonna take a Vendetta as well as his Impale. The stuns are in place. They're gonna do a lot of damage to Era. Era not choosing to rage up just yet. Puppey gonna be blocked by Zombie. The clap whiffs complete by Trixie. A little bit of misplay right there. They should just get the heck out of there, as Tombstone is gonna be timing out relatively soon. Dendi recognizing this, gonna go right back in, gonna initiate back onto Trixie. Hani just throwing down so much sustained damage with that decay. Era gonna finally turn rage, gonna initiate onto Trixie. No-Tail is in position as well. The shockwave gonna do a bit of extra damage. They are gonna pick off Kuroki. Meanwhile, on the bottom lane, here comes the Nightmare, as oh no, Havos and the Entangle means fly. You can't run, you can't hide, and Hani, you could be in a lot of trouble. Omni Slash is online. Oh no, even worse, they're gonna get entangled, so Havos does not even have to use Omni Slash, while Omni Slash was not online.
Bottom tower is under attack.
That was so bad for Fnatic, and they're going to lose a tier 2 tower as well. The healing ward and the lack of Brewmaster ultimate means that how can you defend this tower? You can't. And this is going abysmally for Fnatic at this stage in the game. This is where Navi's lineup is at its strongest, and if Fnatic could weather the storm with that Brewmaster ultimate, they could be in a solid position. But right now you can really see they're struggling so hard. No-Tail getting picked off by Dendi. Not Dendi just buying an Ivan secret shot, no wards or anything like that, just an unfortunate position for the Tinker to be in at precisely the wrong place at the wrong time. Really, really unfortunate for No-Tail. Like, this is gotta be a Tinker's worst nightmare. And not only is Boots of Travel gonna be delayed, that means the Hex is gonna be delayed. That means the other items he picks up, whether it be a dagger and a 4-step, be delayed. And that means this Tinker is not going to be relevant until maybe the 35-minute mark. And that's just going to be the sad truth. This Tinker is not going to be relevant. But he's still going to be annoying with the March Machine spam to really delay the Navi push. But right now, Navi have picked up 3 towers. Fnatic has yet to siege down 1. Looking at the gold graph, Navi has all the advantage in the world. 5k gold advantage, only 2.5k experience advantage. But again, I think the most important thing is Funnick has not died, and he is just looking absolutely impossible to bring down. As Fnatic trying to make something happen, going to place a ward, recognizing that perhaps Navi could go for a Roshan attempt relatively soon. Actually, Navi picked up 4 towers. They got this bottom tier 2 tower in the meanwhile, and No-Tail just desperate to find some room. It looks like he will be able to pick up Boots of Travel, but it will still be a 20-minute Boots of Travel. This is not good. Meanwhile, Dendi gonna go straight for the BKB. This is such a smart decision against the Brewmaster, because Brewmaster exerts so much teamfight control, and you want Dendi to be in the thick of the action as much as possible. And you can't really do that if he's spinning up in the air or is being stunned by boulders. And with Dendi being able to roam free, that means Bane will die, Tinker will die, unless they use a Fiend's Grip. And if you use a Fiend's Grip on him, Era, I'm going to take that Shadow Strike, not choosing to use the Rage, saving the Rage in case he does get entangled. Navi going to actually push in as Tinker not in position. I think he just managed to pick up the Boots of Travel as he was farming out that wave. No, he didn't pick up the Boots of Travel just yet. I think they asked for him to defend the base with the March Machine spam. That's definitely going to delay Navi's push, but still, Tinker definitely wanted that time to farm up. You know, Brewmaster, like what he's doing, he managed to get level 11, so his ultimate is more powerful, and he's farmed up his Blink Dagger. And Brewmaster, even up against BKB Dendi, even with the most magical immunity, if you can kill off the supports, a lot of Navi's DPS will be lost, because Nyx and Lina do provide a lot of burst damage. And Fnatic's lineup, even if they don't have too much control outside of stuns, or outside of, like, tank ability, they still have that durability, which makes them incredibly difficult to bring down. So Navi definitely going to need all of their nukes. So it's really going to be up to Trixie to control the team fights. Otherwise, Fnatic are just going to be in for a miserable, miserable experience. March in place. Funnick continued to siege down the tower, saying, I don't care about Empower on the bear. Bane, only level 6, only has 1 point of Empower. It's definitely not that threatening. As they're going to initiate, they managed to get a kill on Lina, picking off the support, and this is going to drive Navi away. But if Navi only escape with 1 support to death, with a Brewmaster level 2 ultimate, they're going to count themselves very, very lucky. Is Funnick going to get lifted up into the air? Era is going to pursue the issue, and Pale going to delay Era's assault, as Funnick is going to get slowed down. He's gonna get open wounds. Fnatic will fall. This could be the start of something fantastic for Fnatic as Denny manages to get a beautiful Sonic Wave, catching everybody. Pops the BKB as well, trying to drown an Assault Era. Kuroki looking for the right time to Vendetta out of there, but Kuroki is slowed down quite a bit. Hani just so tanky, decay spamming left and right. Gonna get Vendetta by Kuroki. Unfortunate position as Hani did not know Kuroki was there. So, good recognition. But Fnatic, it's gonna be a 2-for-1. But also very important to realize, oh no, Trixie's gonna die as well. And I was about to say, again, something that's vitally important to realize is that the Brewmaster Ultimate is gonna be down. And without the Brewmaster Ultimate, Fnatic can't really do anything to control. And that means if Navi go for Roshan, they will be taken uncontested, unless Tinker manages to get there and spam those marches down. But No-Tail is saying, at last I can do stuff, guys, I have my boots to travel. He can start actually applying that pressure, like I mentioned previously. Because Navi obviously want to group up as 5, because they know the Juggernaut Ward is going to get more and more powerful with more and more healing. So you want to make best usage of that by having everybody closer on. But Tinker can split push with the best of them. As Fnatic actually looking to take this engagement, they're going to be fighting without Trixie. I don't know if this is the right engagement to seek if you're a Fnatic player. You're going to be fighting without the Brewmaster Ultimate as well. The Bear is going to use to scout out the engagement, but right now you can see Navi suffering to bring down this Roshan. They really have no DPS when the Bear is not being used, but now the Bear is going to work, and it's going to be difficult to engage against Navi. Brewmaster Ultimate cooling down in 40 seconds. That's not going to be enough time, but they do have the Infest Bomb and the Thunderclap. They need to pick off a support. Hani just trying to get to work, trying to get control, but the Centroid has been removed. That means Kuroki going to get free reign to go in and perhaps initiate as the Roshan getting dangerously low. Large Machines does not give vision as Navi going to pick up the Roshan. Will they initiate with the Dendi? No, it seems like they're going to back off. Hani going to pop the ultimate. That is going to be a bit unfortunate as Navi going to retreat, and that means the ultimate will not be online for the next minute. But it could have gone worse for Fnatic. It could have gone better for them, again, but it could have gone worse. They could have gotten picked off a couple of times, and the fact that they didn't lose anybody, it's gonna be, yeah, it's still bad for Fnatic. I was trying to like make the most of a bad situation, but now Navi were looking for a way to reach the high ground against Tinker. They finally found a way. We have an Aegis up on the Bear, and even against March Spam, you can sort of go to work. Oh, Aegis is up on Dendi. So now Dendi can dive in without fear. Keep in mind, BKB doesn't negate all March damage because March is a mixed damage spell, so it's magical and physical. I think that was in Dota 1. It might be all physical in Dota 2. So BKB won't block everything if sufficient layers of March are spammed place, but now Dendi can sort of initiate, pick off support, and then they can go to work on the tower. So now Navi have finally found a way to break the base against Tinker. Now they have 2 options, or 3 options. They have the Bear, they have the Healing Ward, and they have the Aegis up on Dendi. Meanwhile, Fnatic being penned up to one side of the map, really unable to get too much map control. Bane leveling up the Enfeeble as well as he should. It's going to be instrumental that Bane gets some levels so he can get that spam up onto the Bear. Ani, level 10. Guess we'll take a look at the gold and experience graph. Gold still steadily climbing in favor of Navi as Tinker going to teleport in. Ooh, does he have a dagger? No, he does not, but Navi, no solid way of initiating. Kuroki actually going to roam in with the haste rune, but it is dodged by No-Tail. The March Machines is going to be layered down. The Bear is going to miss a couple attacks. Infest Bomb is in place for the Brewmaster. Navi probably realized this, that's why they're only saying the Bear up front. And you can see the Healing Ward just making the Bear essentially immortal, but the Bear missing, and every attack he does is reduced heavily. It means that the tower just going to take so long in terms of going back in. Kuroki going to get initiated on a Sentry Ward is in place. Kuroki will get picked off as Denny going to go back. Tinker is going to be slain as well. Hani going to take a lot of damage. The Brewmaster Ultimate is popped, but who can they focus? Where's the damage going to come from? It's got to come from Era. Havos should be the primary target for Fnatic squad as he is not that tanky without that Blade Fury as Era trying to go to work, but the Bear is back in place and the Bear is not going to be focused whatsoever. He's too tank. Era can't do everything by himself. The Brewmaster Ultimate, all it got was a kill on a support Nyx, and that is it. I think this might be the beginning of the end for Fnatic as Trixie's going to get picked off. They're going to be fighting without the Brewmaster Ultimate for the next 2 minutes, and Navi still have the, or no, Dendi Lost the Aegis at the very least, but still a disastrous fight for Fnatic. Because again, one of the problems with Fnatic's lineup, like I mentioned, where's the damage going to come from besides Era? And you could see in that fight, it didn't come from anywhere. The damage was not in place. They fought even without a healing ward, I think, for the most part, because they fought against the healing ward, but I imagine Fnatic did manage to find and pick it off. But even then, without Era, there's no damage on Fnatic's squad until Tinker managed to get super big, and that is going to be ages away. Fortunately for Fnatic, it looks like Navi trying to fish up the Hex on Dendy. Dendy going to go for the ultimate orb, as NA trying to save for the dagger. Puppy as an Urn of Shadows, trying to build into an eventual mech, I imagine, but it's definitely not the top of priorities. Mech will still be very useful against a March spam, but right now Lina trying to tank up. Fnatic going to smoke up, but they are going to reveal Fnatic going to get the heck out of there, but the Nightmare range is pretty long. Fiend's Grip is going to be used as well, as the Bear going to get his Nightmare transfer. Nice micro by Fnatic to transfer that Nightmare. As Dendy gonna come back in place, they will successfully kill off Fnatic. Dendy does manage to kill off Bane, but it's definitely a worthwhile trade, killing off the Lone Druid and more importantly, delaying the push without the Brewmaster ultimate. That was such a good engagement for Fnatic. Because without the Bear, Navi definitely do not want to push in. They don't have a frontline tank that can really sustain themselves, as Trixie wants to go in for more. He doesn't have the ultimate, but he still senses blood. Havos gonna back the heck out of there, as No Tail gonna cancel his teleport. Fnatic should just be happy with this and try to back off. I don't think they want to be in place if they manage to get initiated on by a couple of stuns. But really strong engagement by Fnatic. This is what they need to do. They need to pick off the Bear, and without the Bear, Navi can't really hope to push in. Kuroki going to pick up a Ghost Scepter, so they're finding ways to mitigate the impact of the Lifestealer. Now Lifestealer is kind of forced to pick off... Ooh, Dendy dying to neutrals. Gonna be successful in escaping their ghastly clutches. Hani actually didn't go for level 2 of ultimate, as the scaling isn't the best on the ultimate. It's pretty much only 5%, but it's still pretty useful. So I'm a bit curious why he didn't get that. I don't think it'll make the biggest deal, but every bit of damage against Navi's lineup does indeed count in my honest opinion. You know, Dendy getting closer and closer to the Hex. Havos finished up the Aghanims. Ooh, that is interesting. You never see this on Juggernauts, because you can use a Taxi to get more slashes of the Omni Slash. Of course, it's not true Omni Slash slashes. You get slashes in between the Omni Slash hits. But I think it's okay in this game. Usually Juggernaut Aghanims is never good. But in this game, I think Havos just wants to tank up and get more mana to spam his spells. So if that's the case, then Aghanims will definitely do that for you. It makes you a bit more tanky, gives you more mana so you can do all your spells. But it's not going to give you damage. It'll give you a couple more slashes, but it won't give you damage in terms of your attack damage. But they're not going to rely on that. They're going to rely on the Lone Druid to really dish out the DPS. But Fnatic have successfully stalled. They have the Brewmaster ultimate back online, although the Bear is looking quite fearsome. The Bear now has a Maelstrom as well as Vlad's in place, and the Healing Ward has been dropped. They're gonna go to work onto the tower with the Bear. The Drunken Haze is in place. The Bear may should have gotten an MKV, so it could really throw off this Drunken Haze, which is proving to be so annoying, as the Bear would have definitely died if the Healing Ward is not in place. But the Healing Ward gonna heal up the Bear, and might even heal it back up to close to full HP, just because Healing Ward is such a ridiculously good skill. But Fnatic successfully defend, and slowly but surely just chipping down the towers with the Tinker, because again, Navi pretty much always want to group up as 5 when they push, and Tinker starting to get a split push going, so the later this game goes, the more impact Fnatic should have these engagements, because Juggernaut's not going for carry items, and Lina and Nyx, they scale, but it's not going to get prettier, and Tinker, if he gets something like a Hex, if they can manage to perma-sheep the Lone Druid, then Navi's DPS is going to be effectively out of the window completely. But Dendy's picked up a Hex, so that's going to give them another lockdown disable. Perhaps if they blink in and Hex the Brewmaster ultimate, then Fnatic are just going to be in a world of trouble. We all know Tail finished the 4th staff. Also to save his teammates rather than getting that blink dagger so he can split push a bit more effectively, and it gives him a bit more regen, so I like the 4th staff a lot better. as, you know, if Kuroki blinks in or Dendi blinks in, Blink Dagger won't really help you. Meanwhile, Era constantly inside of Trixie, not farming up. I think it's very instrumental that Leicester receives as much farm as possible. You can see, even though Leicester was having such a good time in that Shrine, the fact of the matter is that Tinker does take away a lot of your lane's farm because he is forced to push out your lane so much. And a lot of the time, Era's inside of Trixie. He's infested, and that's delaying his farm quite a bit as well. And at 30 minutes in the game, only a Basher and an Armlet on a Lifestealer has only died once. Definitely not going to cut it in terms of DPS for the Lifestealer. So Fnatic still in a lot of trouble. But it seems like Navi just going to wait for the Aegis to respawn and then probably push in. Goldgraphs continue to spiral in favor of Navi. Fnatic has yet to bring down a tower, and they really don't have a proper avenue to get a tower push mounted. And look at the ward coverage, the map control. Look at where Fnatic is consigned to in the base. They can't even cross this area of the map just because the wards... And it's not like Navi has good initiation. They don't have any initiation. They don't have any heroes with a Blink Dagger. But Fnatic are just so scared of Navi in terms of fighting them because they know if they lose one hero, that could be their base push down. And that just really speaks to how this game is going. As accidentally minimized, so might have frozen. Meanwhile, Havost, no item progression. Dendi picks up a Ghost Scepter, so they're respecting the Lifestealer quite a bit. And again, outside the Lifestealer DPS, there's not much burst damage. Tinker's laser will not be amplified, as the Smoke of Deceit was popped. And they're gonna go to work. They are gonna pick off Puppey. Good engagement of Fnatic, but Kuroki should be able to escape. So if they lose a support Lina on the back of his smoke, not really going to take it, but still, this is going to give Fnatic some space to farm up and try to get some more map control, as Navi has wards all over the map, playing really aggressively and just limiting Fnatic's vision by so much. But still, every pick off that Fnatic gets off is going to help them immensely, as it's going to delay the push and it's going to give more time for Tinker and Leicester to get themselves back into the game. But Navi seems like they don't care that Lina's dying. They're going to go for Roshan, and unfortunately for Fnatic, even though that could have been a good Roshan fight, Trixie was out of mana, so they couldn't possibly engage against it. And with this Aegis up on Queen of Pain, I think Dendi can blink in without fear. Initiate on somebody like the Leicester, the Tinker, or the Undying, or anybody outside Fnatic. If they stun the Bane, no disables for Fnatic outside of the Brewmaster ultimate. They go on the Leicester. You know, there goes your DPS. If you go on the Undying, there goes a lot of the damage amplification. Any target that Dendi chooses to isolate is going to be a good target. Meanwhile, Puppey trying to get that mecha online. I wonder if Navi's going to wait for the mech before they start their game-ending push, or their potentially game-ending push. As Tinker still slowly but surely trying to make his way back. I imagine he's going to go for the ultimate orb into a Hex. Shivas would not be a good option. Dagger would not be a good option. Dagon would not be a good option because Dagon's the only one of those items that can give you more DPS. And everybody on side Navi is just too damn tank for a Dagon. But Hex is going to be ages away. Not too much golden bank, as No Tail has just been really limited to where you can farm out. You got Navi securing the jungle yet again, trying to group up for the push, as they still have quite a bit left on their Aegis. The Bear picked up a Demon Edge. Is he setting up for the MKB? Is it on the way for the Courier? No, that is going to be Puppey's mechanism, and with that, I think they're going to push. They're not going to wait for the Bear MKB. They're going to allow Dendi to go and then initiate. If they wait for the Bear MKB, I think Fnatic could probably pick it up before the Aegis times out, but why wait? Because Fnatic still does have some decently scaling heroes. Especially since Evos decided to go for a not carry intensive build. And now the Bear with the Juggernaut going to work on the tower. The Bear is going to get bashed down, but Era is going to get chain stun out. Will get blown the heck out. Era manages to infest dodge just barely, or Nightmare. Really good play by Fly. And Panis pops a split, but they're going to be fighting in the healing ward. They're not killing the healing ward. They're not focusing down at all. They just managed to kill off right now. And the Brewmaster ultimate is largely going to waste. Kuroki going to go back in. Kuroki could potentially die in this engagement where not much damage is being thrown out. No tail is going to be the first casualty of war, as the Cyclone by the Brewmaster actually went on a creep. Such a big mistake by Trixie, and now Trixie will most certainly end up paying for it with his life. Will end up dying. Tinker picks off the Nyx, but at what cost? Hani dies as well. And Era and No Tail after the buyback gonna be the sole people who can stop this push. Dandy will end up perishing, and Fnatic, will they actually defend? No, Healing Ward just came up. They can't really defend when Healing Ward's back up. And did they even kill a bear? They did manage to kill one bear. If they can kill the bear again, they can potentially defend, as Era trying to man up, gonna go mano y mano against Havos with the mechanism. Pop by Puppy will fuel up Havos' HP. Fly will get his life ended, and meanwhile the bear is on the pursuit. If they can pick off Era right now, Era does have buyback, but Era gonna be driven back all the way to the fountain. And Navi, recognizing that there's no Brewmaster ultimate in place, probably just gonna go in and take themselves a second set of barracks, as they are gonna rotate mid, gonna siege down this creep wave, and I think Navi do have this game in the bag. Marches trying to be stacked up. No, marches weren't even in place, as E-Blade by Dendi doing an immense amount of damage to No Tail. Gonna cause him to retreat. Era trying to go back in, but he's gonna get hexed up. Brewmaster trying to forestall the siege onto Era. Again, another Nightmare gonna dodge a lot of the damage, but Omni Slash doing ridiculous amount of damage, bouncing to all the zombies. Era forced to buy back. The Tombstone is gonna be picked up, so Undying gonna not have too much of an impact. The bear constantly being lasered, but Phonic still at full HP, and the bear. The damage. Where is the damage, Fnatic? No damage in this lineup. Era, he might die again after he bought back. Trixie will die. He doesn't have buyback, and this will be the melee set of barracks. Man, I think this might be the end for Fnatic in game 1. Because if they don't have much damage now, they're not going to have much damage later, as Fnatic gets more and more tank. MKV finished up on the Barret. Fnatic call GG. And Navi, with a really solidly executed game plan. They made mistakes, but their game plan was really solid. They overall played to their strengths, and they looked very dominant in that victory. It was never really in doubt. They recognized that Tinker was the main problem in terms of stopping this plan. They destroyed the Tinker. They made No Tail's life a living nightmare. So good recognition by Navi. Navi taking the game off of Fnatic, and Fnatic one game away from elimination in the single elimination tournament. And Navi looking to move on, trying to claim that $12,000 grand prize in the Raidcall EMS. This is still the quarterfinals. I might be able to bring you game 2, but I'm not too sure. But Navi, I think what it came down to was an outdraft. I don't think Fnatic's draft was very good. There's no damage. You could see that from the beginning. You could see that from the end. No damage against first phase Lone Druid and Juggernaut pick. And I don't know, I don't think the draft by Fnatic was very sound. So Fnatic, maybe they can take something away from that. I don't know if they necessarily played bad. They tried to make good decisions, but maybe, you know, those decisions didn't end up paying off. But hopefully you enjoy that. Sorry about my voice. I had to speak quite a bit earlier for one of my earlier videos. But hopefully you enjoy that. Thanks for watching, and I will see you all next time. Peace.